the debate over youth participation in politics, experts say, will continue until the Nigerian youth is given the opportunity and level playing ground to contest political offices, as the case may be. Now, as the hope of giving them the opportunity gets brighter, especially with the Not Too Young to Run bill signed into law by President MUHAMMADU BUHARI, the question about readiness of young people to compete in the tedious Nigerian political terrain is gradually being laid to rest. Now, according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, 52% of registered voters between the ages of 18 and 35. Now, the United Nations also, that is for Department of Economic and Social Affairs, estimates that Nigeria's population will be near 200 million. That's some huge number. By the beginning of 2019 now, nearly two-thirds, representing 62% of Nigerian population is aged under 24, giving Nigeria one of the youngest demographics in the world. Now, while the statistics is very impressive, the quality of young Nigerians when it comes to knowledge, creative knowledge, of course, capacity, charisma, as well as bringing fresh ideas, innovation, and solution. The democratic system is the reason why some political players and watchers are lending support to youth candidacy in the near future. Well, the future is here, definitely. We'll take a look at youth candidacy and 2019 election. At our focus on Nigeria today. Welcome to the program. My name is Blessing Abu. Yes, you could have seen his face everywhere when the Not Too Young to Run bill was being pushed here and there alongside his colleagues in this movement. I'd like to welcome Mr. Samson Itodo, Executive Director, Yaga Africa. Welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be here.
Cynthia Mbamalu also joined me. One of the previous episodes, taking a look at young persons and electoral offices. Sometime last month. She's back. Cynthia, good to have you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, the bill, Not Too Young to Run, it's as if that is the only slogan we've heard like almost months, years. Now it's done. Is that the end to it for youth seeking inclusion on the political terrain? Samson?
I think it's a journey, and so we're not even close to the destination, because democracy itself is actually a journey. And so the advocacy for inclusion of citizens, especially young men and young women and young persons with disability, will continue in as much as we continue to adopt this form of governance that we actually practice, being a constitutional democracy. And so it's not come to an end. I think what's important is, because we've got a deeply entrenched system of exclusion, dislodging exclusion is going to take a long while. And there are a lot of factors. What we have done over the last couple of years with the assent by the president is to address the legal barrier. And even the current amendment does not guarantee sufficient space or access for young people, because what was actually pushed as a movement was an alignment of the age for running for office as well as the voting age. So once you're 18, you can actually run for office. If you read the speech delivered by the president during the assent, he wondered why the Senate and then the governors were not included. So you see, it's a journey. Of course, there are a lot of economic factors. You've got other factors relating to the nature of politics. We've got a template of politics that simply is hegemonic in every respect, and that needs to be addressed with the nature of primaries within political parties. And that's why this discussion, and on Wednesday 8th of August, Nigerian youths across the 36 states went to the streets and went to the party offices of these political parties and asking them and telling them, if you want the youth votes in 2019, then you must give youth tickets to young people with content, with character, who have the ability to lead, because 2019 is about ensuring that different nationalities or different segments of our society are in the decision-making room. Yeah.
Okay, I like the fact you made reference to what the president said, and so many things, even the unsaid, were taken in by you people. And you also made mention of trying to dislodge that exclusion. Now, Cynthia, I know, let me take some of the words from the president, which I so much resonates with. I said, your energy, intelligence, and talent are what will drive and develop Nigeria long after we're all gone. That's a part of it. And you're undoubtedly Nigeria's most important resource, not oil. And here is a society that we've looked into those kind of assets and not harnessing the kind of human resource we have. How poised, ready are the youth to actually take on this in terms of what the president has given part of his speech?
I think one of the things we've learned from Not Too Young to Run is that for the first time, we had young people organized to ensure that they got their constitutional amendments achieved. And this is young people moving for an amendment up to the constitution. For those who know about the Nigerian constitution, it's a rigid constitution, and it's always difficult to get a section amended, and we were able to get 3 sections amended. So it already shows that at that point we're already exhibiting and showing leadership, that young people actually can believe in an issue and would push, organize around it across the nation, make that issue a global issue, and then push till they achieved purpose. And that is what we wanted to prove to the world, that one, young people are ready, young people understand the issues they care about, and young people are ready to take up leadership. And that for us is the beginning of how young people would exhibit true leadership in Nigeria. And when people ask, are young people ready? I think yes, young people are ready, because already you see young people succeeding in different sectors of our economy and our society. You go to the business sector, young businesses are thriving. You see young influential Nigerians doing great things both within Nigeria and outside the country. So already we're already seeing young people exhibiting and showing leadership in different sectors of our lives. Beyond that, within the political space, we've had young people who they are the ones that ensure these parties actually win elections. In 2015, the success of the 2015 elections for the APC, you can't talk about how APC emerged as a leading party without mentioning the role young people played in ensuring that APC actually did emerge. Now, that is the role young people have started playing within the political space, within the political parties. Those mobilizing, those campaigning, those organizing, those getting people to go out and vote are young people. Young people already take leadership positions within parties, and they're already making their voices heard. So you want to say, are young people ready? Yes, young people are already ready. What we were asking for is, it's beyond having the capacity and being competent. Exactly. It's about the enabling environment. So do we have a political system or space that would create an equal opportunity for young people to contest and win elections? Because what we have currently is, one, we have the law passed, which is good. Our constitution has been amended, the age is reduced. But within the political party system, while young people play active role within the party system, there's been that over a period of time, the system has excluded young people from decision making within the parties. So when it comes to issues of internal party activities, or even issues of party primaries and all, you see that already the system does not favor young people. And that is why on Wednesday when we marched, what we're demanding for is, we have Not Too Young to Run passed is law now, but we need the parties to take intentional steps to open up the space for young people to run for office. And how do you open up the space? One, if you don't have democratic primaries, direct, open, transparent democratic primaries, you wouldn't give young people and even women the opportunities to compete equally within the parties. If you make your nomination fees and charges so high that young people can't afford to buy that, then you also limit and restrict young people from participating.
So that gives us another window to actually push more for this new visa that we've obtained. Now, how is the advocacy coming on strong for us to start redirecting this conversation beyond, okay, we've such this, we got the bill passed. Now, what new things? Because of your movements now, we're seeing several groups too springing up, and we should not have this discordant tones now everywhere. So how are you people, at least when I now say you people now, whether Not Young to Run movement or some other groups that have teamed up with you, how are you stringing all those chords to actually have the focal points to getting that which you have just raised, some of those points you raised?
I think what we have learned with Not Too Young to Run is the power of organizing and the power of being true to our message and sticking to our values. What are those things that are common values or shared values? And one thing that is resonating amongst young people is the fact that we want youth political inclusion. So when you see Not Too Young to Run, it's not about partisan politics, for instance, because you have members of the movement that belong to different political parties.
Exactly.
So for instance, when we marched, we had young people that, as young aspirants, young politicians from different political parties that joined that march. Because the thing is, at this point, what is important to us is the youth constituency. That is the common factor uniting us. And as long as we believe that the youth constituency, we want to push for more political inclusion for young people, we all key into that. So irrespective of party, because every party has their own limitations within the parties towards young people.
No, I think Cynthia actually says it all. The point needs to be made that there is broad-based consensus that as a country we have come to a point where we need to fix politics. And because politics is not delivering to the people. And this is not just at the center, at the local government level, at the state level, at the national level. There's broad-based consensus that democracy is not delivering development to the people. And so politics need to be fixed. And so to fix politics, you need diversity within that stream of decision making. And for a lot of young people who have come to understand that, yes, politics is everything, we need to be involved. And so, be them whatever movement. In fact, we are excited to see that more young people are beginning to be aware and are engaging the process, are engaging political parties. We are privileged to have been the catalyst for this. But that notwithstanding, there is broad-based consensus across young people across the world. The second is our socio-political reality. There's no way Nigeria is going to move, if we've got the dream to move from a third world to a first world, or to move from a developing nation to a developed nation without that bulk of your population. And so even the president and the political parties, they actually understand. If you hear them in political campaigns, they recognize young people. But the challenge is they need to move beyond recognizing young people as voters to saying, hey, you know what? At the state houses of assembly, we know that there are 990 seats. We're going to ensure that 30% of those seats will have young people. Because the guys who are actually here, and quite frankly, every young person who is involved in this movement is not saying, let the old order leave because the new order wants to come. No. What we are saying is, can we be in the room so we can learn from your experience? Because we need your experience. But don't design a future that you won't be part of.
Which is great. So I'm going to hold you to pause there. We'll go to the streets. We actually sought the views of respondents here in Abuja to know what they think about youth candidacy and 2019.
Those of us that went to school, sitting down doing nothing, the old ones are still ruling us. Why not the young ones with new invention? It's good for them to go into politics. I desire and I wish for them to go into politics.
It is pertinent, it is good for youth to involve in politics, at least to make a better development in Nigeria.
Not too young to run bill is very important bill, because youths are fresh brain. They have good ideas to give into politics. My encouragement to young men is that they should go into politics so that they'll bring fresh ideas into government.
The advice I have for the youth now, let them wake up from their slumber and go into politics and add their quotas to the development of this country.
Yes, from your own quotas, definitely you get some other quota to actually fill in the right proportion. Now, 2019 definitely is around the corner, and we've all talked about youth being architect for democracy. And there is the expectation, massive expectation, that a whole lot will come in. And, well, looking on the joke by the president when he signed the bill, he said, well, wait until after 2019 before you start doing your campaign. And all of that. Of course, that's why I said it was a joke. And for so many, they didn't find actually funny that why would you now be restricting maybe? But all said and done, let's look at ways by which young persons now, whether your movement or some other persons who are yet to be get awoken in that consciousness that no, really, it's not just about we pushing now, but we're taking our rightful place, whether you come into the political space come 2019 or not. What are those factors that would restrict anybody and shouldn't restrict them anyway? Let's begin to itemize them. Are people registering? Are they picking up their voter the cards? What have you observed?
First, politics is a game of numbers. Elections are actually won by people. There can't be elections without people.
Exactly.
So far, INEC has registered 11.4 million people in the CVR that started last year. And over 60% of these 11.4 are actually young people. So we'll be going to the election with about 80 million registered voters, and over 55% of those number of registered voters are young people between 18 and 35. The turnout for 2015 for the presidential elections was just a little above 29 million. Now, 29 million out of the 60-something that were actually registered. If we've got 80 million registered voters and over 60% of that, so 60% of 80 million will be somewhere around 60 million, and our population in this country is over 80 million. Therefore, the 2019 elections will be determined by young people. The INEC chairman just said a few days ago that young people will determine the elections. And so for every young person who is actually watching this show, just know that you are the one who will be determining the next round of elections. But what do we need to do? First is to elevate this politics of ethnicity and religion that we play. That it has to be politics of issues, value-based politics, and shun all forms of vote buying or vote selling, because we lose our voice when we allow people buy our votes. The second is we need to vote for young people who have content, character, and capacity. And every young person who has come up and presented themselves, and you know that they have what it takes to lead, please vote for them. And for us at Not Too Young to Run, we've got Ready to Run. And anyone who is actually running who wants to get more information can go to the website readytorunng.org, where we are providing support to young people. What kind of
support are you?
We're providing technical support. We're profiling these young people. We're providing spaces for them to actually network. And we're providing solidarity. Because as a movement, we do have huge social capital that contestants can actually leverage on. I tell you today, and one of my friends from the National Assembly went to his constituency, and a 60-year-old is actually running for House of Reps, and on his poster he's got Not Too Young to Run. Why? Because that's something people actually connect to. It's ironical, however, but there's huge capital, and so we're hoping that young people will leverage on this. But the part about securing tickets is where we are. Next week, INEC will start issuing forms and parties will collect their forms. It's important to also emphasize on the political parties that young people will not give you their votes if you don't demonstrate the intention to give tickets to young people who are members of your parties. We're encouraging young people to also go and join parties. The challenge, and we Cynthia talked about direct party primaries, because we believe that it will open up the space for young women and young men and young persons with disability. But as we speak, for some parties who already conducted congresses, delegates are already in place, we already know where they are going to vote. But we want the voters who are going to be voting to look beyond the parties, but look at the individuals, their manifestos, and whether those individuals have track record.
Exactly, which is one area that will still keep hammering.
The last point is, for every young person who wants to run in 2019, please go and get popular in your constituency. It is very difficult to rig elections today because of the advancement in our electoral process, and thanks to INEC and other stakeholders. But please don't sit in the urban area and claim that you want to run for elections. Yes, we're very good with technology. Don't become a computer politician who just sits on social media and say, oh yes, I've captured this constituency, I've captured this constituency. Go to the grassroots, go and get support from, because they are the ones who actually vote at the end of the day.
Okay, Cynthia.
Yeah, I think what is in, I like where he and what's the point Sam saying, the fact that politics is local. And for our young people on ready to run, for instance, one of the things we're telling them is you need to go and be known by your constituents. You need to go and ensure your people know you, because if you don't invest in your community wouldn't feel any form of loyalty towards you. Now, if you want to play politics the right way, you need to ensure that you've invested so much in your people and even within your parties that you can tilt the balance of loyalty to favor you. And that is what young people need to start understanding. And we've told them that for you to win elections, if you don't have the money like those that have been in the system for years. So what you need to have is you have your name, your credibility. You need to have content, you need to have character, you need to know what you actually want to do.
Is that sinking in with most people these days who are still looking out, okay, if you don't come, see us?
Well, I think things are changing, because the more you organize and the more you tell people the value of their vote and the value of what you'll be bringing on the table when you get into office, the more they connect with you. I think citizens are becoming wiser. Most times we make the mistake of thinking citizens don't know, or people can easily be fooled. There's a period, there's a limitation to how much or how well you fool the people. And I think towards 2019, people are getting wiser. It's about how we organize and engage with our people, because the more you engage with them, the better they understand what they would seek, what they would be benefiting, or what they would gain if you're in office. And for within the political parties, I think the clear point we want to make is that parties need to know that 2019 will be determined by young people. And if parties are not going to accede to our demand and create spaces for young people, we wouldn't hesitate to go and engage our constituent, which is the youth constituent, and tell them, hey, if parties don't support youth candidacy, or if parties don't open up the space for young people to participate, then it's time we vote them out. Because if a party does not care about this youth, does not care about this youth population, about the largest population of its nation, it means this party is not ready for nation building. How do you build a nation without the young people?
That's the question. How do we build a nation without young people? On that note, I'd like to appreciate both of you, Cynthia Mbamalu of the Not Too Young to Run movement, and also Executive Director, YAGA Africa, Samson Todo. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady. And I would like to end on this note, still with a word from the President on the day he signed the bill. Your energy, your intelligence and talents are what will drive and develop Nigeria. Stop. Go get yourself registered and get ready for 2019. My name is Blessing Abu. See you on Monday for another interesting edition of the program, 7:30.